Hello everyone and welcome to this afternoon's webinar, Notebook Basic, Dispelling the Myths. If you would like to ask a question during the webinar, I will be here in the background supporting the presenter. So please feel free to. You can ask a question by clicking on the speech bubble with the question mark inside. If you'd like to earn a certificate for today's webinar towards your PD hours, you can by logging into your training.smarttech.com account, navigating to this webinar, Notebook Basic, and you can navigate to the end, and then if you click on the Mark Complete button icon that pops up, at the end it will automatically generate you a certificate which you can download as a PDF. I usually get the webinars up there within about a week. So this particular webinar will be up Monday, Tuesday next week. Okay, so today's presenter, we have Nick Benoit. He is our Smart Regional Manager. He has 12 years experience in education technology, is a 10-year veteran of smart technologies, was previously a primary school and elementary school teacher, an expert in unified communications and collaboration, and top 3 worst surfer in Australia. If you'd like to connect up with Nick to ask him anything regarding this webinar today, you can do so. His email address is just at the bottom of his profile picture here. Okay, without further ado, I'll pass you on to Nick. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Kenny. I appreciate that introduction there. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining in today to talk through some of the myths surrounding Smart Notebook Basic software. I'm broadcasting to you today from sunny Melbourne, Australia, and you can file that under things you don't hear every single day. My apologies if there's a little bit of background noise as we get started here. There's construction outside the apartment, but it shouldn't be too terrible. So today's webinar, we're going to focus on, firstly, we're going to discuss what we're hearing from educators about education software. We've gone out and we've spoken to educators, we've spoken to teachers and facilitators all over the world. And with that feedback, we've used that to really develop our software strategy, both as it pertains to Notebook Basic and as it pertains to Smart Learning Suite. We're also going to provide details of Smart Notebook Basic software. We're going to clarify the differences between Smart Notebook Basic software as well as Smart Learning Suite. We know that there's a lot of misinformation out there around, what is actually included, with Basic versus a Smart Learning Suite. So we're really going to dig into that. And then lastly, I'm going to identify additional resources and information that is available for you if you want to brush up on this after the webinar. So let's jump right in. So what we've been hearing. So at Smart, we've been hearing that educators want an option for free, purpose-built education software. Right? We know that there are often legacy hardware, legacy smart hardware in classrooms. We know that it is fairly commonplace that smart boards do come with software. We want to make sure that we're offering a free software option for that as well. We know that time is a valuable commodity, and we know that teachers are looking for a familiar platform so that they're able to repurpose content that already exists. And we know that they may have content that's not in Smart Notebook software. They may have content that is based in PowerPoint or based in a Google slide or based in a PDF. So we want to provide educators with the ability to interact and work with that content as well, and not just be limited to, say, the Smart Notebook software. Educators don't always control which software they can use, right? We know that lessons may have existed previously within a school. And with that in mind, if a school has decided to move away from Notebook for whatever reason and not provide that software to the teachers, we wanted to provide a free version of that software so that you can still leverage the content that was previously created. We also know that power users, once they see the value in the software, they're not really opposed to potentially purchasing that subscription, but they do want to see the value initially. And we've provided an option for that as well, which I'll get into a little bit further down the line. So let's jump right in. Myth number 1. in order to use Smart Notebook software, you must pay big money. And this myth is simply not true. All smart customers, both new and old, can download Smart Notebook Basic software for free. So we're going to run through a little bit of what Smart Notebook Basic entails. But for all users, that software is free. Also, new smart customers who procure smart hardware get Smart Learning Suite 1-year subscription included with the purchase of that hardware. In addition to that, any teacher, any educator, any facilitator who want to try out Smart Learning Suite as well, they'll get that for 45 days for free as well, just to see if it fits the needs of yourself and your students in the classroom. In addition to that, we also provide Smart Ink free of charge as well. So some of you out there may be familiar with Smart Ink. Smart Ink is designed to enable our users to interact seamlessly with all content types. Specifically, it enables you to pick up a pen and seamlessly annotate within Microsoft Office files, within your PowerPoint, within PDFs as well, without having to select tools. That is all free of charge to all of our customers, both new and old. Myth number 2, with Smart Notebook Basic, you cannot create notebook files. And that's just not true. In fact, it's false. You absolutely can create notebook files with Smart Notebook Basic. Smart Notebook Basic is ideal for customers who are looking to engage their students. They have existing displays and they want to add additional value. We know very clearly that the power of your hardware really does lie in the software. We know that not all hardware is created equal. Not only can you create new notebook files with Smart Notebook Basic, I'm just going to run through this table here and show you some of the additional things that you can do. You can add text, tables, lines, shapes, import PDFs, PowerPoints. You can actually import them directly into the notebook software. So as you're moving through your notebook content, you can actually stay within a single application. You don't have to jump outside of Notebook, jump into another application. We all know that the more time you spend navigating in between applications, the more opportunity there is to actually lose your class and have to spend more time reinvesting in getting them back on track. You can access it anywhere. So Smart Notebook software is not just designed to work when connected to a smartboard. We understand that content creation and manipulating that content can take place anywhere. So Smart Notebook software will absolutely work on your laptop. It'll work when you're connected to a smartboard and when you're not connected to a smartboard, so that you can go ahead and prepare when you're away from the classroom. We have measurement tools. So all of those traditional tools that you're really familiar with in Smart Notebook, the ruler, the protractor, the compass, the geodragic, which I always have trouble pronouncing, but all those tools that you've been familiar with that are embedded within Smart Notebook software, you get access to that with Smart Notebook Basic as well. Of course, you can always insert attachments, images, files. Those things can always be brought into Smart Notebook software, again, to create that consistency and that flow in the classroom. Of course, our gallery with thousands of objects are available for you to create content with. We can insert and edit equations. And lastly, perhaps most importantly, is we provide regular updates to the Notebook Basic software as well. So we are going to ensure that it's compatible with your Windows 10 and it's compatible with the latest operating system, so that you as an educator do not need to worry about potentially the software not functioning with your latest operating system and all the content that you've spent so many tireless hours creating no longer working in the classroom. Myth number 3. Smart Notebook software provides the same functionality and user experience on competitive displays. That's false. Now, I know this is a really text-heavy document. We're going to make this presentation available to y'all after the webinar here, so you can really dig into it and see some of the content. But Not all hardware is created equal. If we're thinking about the value of technology in the classroom, the pedagogical value of that, it's really about students having an uninhibited experience when working at the board. Right? It's about students being able to walk up that board, pick up a pen of a specific color, write in that pen, use their palm to erase, use their fingers to move that object. It has to be a natural experience. You have to be able to work just as you would in a traditional whiteboard space, but while in a technology space. And if you can do that, then the true value of the technology shows the students are engaged, the class flows seamlessly, and we're able to have a bigger impact on student outcomes. The technology then becomes transparent to the lesson, which is the ultimate objective of any technology deployment in the classroom. Software drives the value of the hardware. It's critically important that the software complement the hardware. Smart software actually integrates with our hardware by having a nice firm handshake between the drivers and the firmware. Without that handshake, users actually have to select separate tools. They have to, each user is writing in the same pen color. You don't have that unique experience per each student. And again, all of those things negatively impact the user experience. I encourage you to go through this a little bit further after the webinar and just really take a look at the differences in experiences here and think about how that might impact the classroom experience. Smart Learning Suite only consists of Smart Notebook software, our myth number 4. Now, before I dispel this myth, I just like to say that Smart Notebook today, a lot of y'all will be familiar with Smart Notebook, as it existed previously, and that was perhaps 11.4. Smart Notebook Basic essentially encompasses much of the same tools that exist in 11.4, if not all of them. Right, so that experience isn't going to be a drastic shift from what you may be familiar with already or what you may remember from the Smart Notebook software experience. What Smart Learning Suite consists of, in addition to Smart Notebook software, which we see over here on the left-hand side, right? Our Smart Notebook software is designed to provide lesson creation and content delivery. That's the idea behind Notebook software. It's designed to engage students, and it's designed to drive teacher efficiency. Smart Learning Suite also consists of Smart Response. Smart Response is designed for both formative and summative assessment. It's baked directly into Smart Notebook software or Smart Learning Suite software, which means that you're not jumping outside of this platform to access separate clickers or to access a separate application. And you're able to, on the fly, directly understand whether or not your students are actually grasping a concept or whether or not you need to review it. Of course, that integration, back into reporting applications as well really drives, again, teacher efficiencies. We have the lesson activity builder or game-based learning, again, integrated into our Smart Learning Suite software. This is designed to create fun, engaging games for students to get up at the board, interact with that content, and learn in a really different way. Learn in a way that students of today are really accustomed to. Right? We can't expect students to spend their days surrounded by devices and come to class and not have that same level of engagement with game-based learning. In addition to that, right, we also don't want it to be a case of device-elation, as we like to say, where each student has their own device, but they're not collaborating, they're not engaged with their peers, working collectively towards a common goal. So Smart Learning Suite Online provides that collaborative workspace where students can not only work independently, but they can work in groups to solve common problems and then project that back to the front of the class from a whole group learning experience. Now, all of these individual pieces can be achieved by separate applications or separate pieces of software. There's tons of different manufacturers and providers in the market that do these things individually on their own. The value of Smart Learning Suite is that it is integrated into one teaching and learning platform. Right? Again, it's designed to support seamless facilitation of classes, and it's designed to provide the right tools for students to be engaged in the classroom. Notebook Basic, you have that. Everyone gets that. Smart Learning Suite is designed, you'll get it for 45 days if you want to have a trial. You'll get it for a year if you purchase a piece of hardware. That's just a little bit more integrated components that provide additional experiences in the classroom. So with that in mind, Smart Notebook Basic version, again, just to reiterate, we really want to drive this home. That's free for all users, right? So you're going to get that. I will put a link on this presentation as well that'll take you to an online web page where you'll be able to actually access all of the features, all of the tools, and all the capabilities of Smart Notebook Basic version. I should point out as well that you absolutely can use Smart Notebook Basic version from your laptop. You can use it connected to a separate display or a different display, but the experience, as I mentioned before, isn't going to be an integrated one with the hardware. And I'll show you on the next page as well. You're actually going to get a watermark in the bottom right-hand corner that identifies the software as Smart Notebook Basic version, but that goes away once you're connected to a smart hardware device. So everyone gets access to Smart Notebook Basic version for free. We talk about Smart Learning Suite paid subscription. So you can actually subscribe to Smart Learning Suite on a yearly or 3-year or 5-year basis. And that encompasses everything that I had mentioned on the previous page here. The cost of that actually is reasonable and really cost effective considering the multiple different pieces of software there that you get with that. And then lastly, as I mentioned, you do get Smart Learning Suite included with all smart boards, all smart hardware purchases. You also get that 45-day free trial as well if you're not quite sure if it's going to fit for you, but you want to give it a go. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you want to give it a whirl, and we'll absolutely work with you to get that up and running. Additional resources and info. So I will provide a link to the Notebook Basic video that you see here. And this is a really good video just for actually drilling down deep on the features of Smart Notebook Basic. Really, it's an overview of getting familiar with the software interface, where everything is, and again, the differences between Smart Learning Suite as well as Notebook Basic. I pointed out earlier that I mentioned earlier that with the Smart Notebook Basic version, when you're not connected to a smart board, you're actually going to get that watermark. So that watermark again will exist if you're on your laptop or if you're connected to a third-party display. You will see that watermark perpetually. I also will include in the file here just a link to the Smart Notebook Basic software. That's going to bring you, that's going to bring you right to the page where you can download the software. It'll also bring you to the page where you can find additional resources. And we breezed through that fairly quickly there. Certainly wanted to be conscious of and respectful of your time, but we can use this opportunity now to answer any questions that you may have. Kenny, have any questions come through?
No, not yet. Oh. Someone had their hand up, but it's gone away now, so.
And just to reiterate a couple things here. So Smart Notebook Basic software That's available today. That's available free. That's available from our website. That is going to give you an experience that is consistent with what you would have experienced in the past. And I just really want to highlight that, because although our software really has evolved to include all of the different other components of Smart Learning Suite, the Smart Notebook Basic software that we bring to market today for you to ensure that you can leverage the existing content that you've previously, worked so hard to develop, that's available for you. And again, that's free of charge to download. We really encourage you to do so. What about free resources, Kenny?
There is a question actually just popped up, 2 questions.
Sure.
Rebecca would like a copy of your notebook.
Oh,
if you have
absolutely.
it handy, you can drag and drop it into the handout section and the audience will get it straight away, or I can email it later on.
I will absolutely drag and drop it into the handout section of this webinar here so that you'll have it ready to rock.
And there is one more. Can I use my old notebooks I made in 11.4? Rebecca asked that question for you.
Now, you can use you can open up any previously existing notebook files with Notebook Basic. Your 11.4 files absolutely can be opened with a Notebook Basic. There may be some limitation around the Flash support of Flash, which is a well-known challenge as software evolves. But certainly all the content that you have previously created will be able to pull in there. And not only can you open it, but you can also edit that and work with that as well. It's another piece that I wanted to reinforce, is that obviously the content that we delivered, 5 years ago isn't going to be completely relevant to today's classroom, right? But a large portion of it very well may be. So you can bring that content in and you can actually edit and manipulate it and decide for yourself which content is, most appropriate for the lesson today.
Okay, great questions there, Rebecca. So I think that's it for now, Nick.
Well, I just want to reinforce as well, if you're, sleep on this tonight and you're dreaming of education software like we do here at Smart, and you wake up tomorrow and you have a bunch of questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Again, you can reach out to Nick Benoit at smarttech.com. My colleagues, Rebecca, will know, Molly Turner, Helen Lacey, please don't hesitate to reach out to us with any questions you may have, or with any feedback that you may have as well, right? So as you heard in the beginning of the presentation here, we really do want to be the voice of the customer. We want your ideas and your questions and your comments and your feedback to be heard and be directly considered as we evolve our software. So we welcome that feedback and certainly encourage it.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thanks for all that, Nick. Some good tips in there.
Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Okay, so I'll wrap up the webinar just with a few other items quickly. So for those who missed earning a certificate at the start of the webinar that I briefly went over, you can earn a certificate for this webinar that goes towards your PD hours. You can do so by logging on to training.smarttech.com, and I'll make sure this webinar is up there in the next few days, possibly Monday, Tuesday next week at the very latest. If you just log on then and navigate to this webinar and click on the Mark Complete button, and it'll automatically generate you a PDF certificate.
Do I get a PDF certificate as well, Kenny?
You can if you like. Sure.
I won't.
Do you need it for your...
I need one. I'm going to put it on the wall.
Sure thing. So 2 down and 4 more to go. We have some awesome content coming up next week on Wednesday, the 6th of November. We're going to go over the new Smart Exchange. There's some awesome content in there, some fun lessons. And we're going to have Molly Turner, our Smart Education Consultant, go over that. And then the following week, Wednesday the 13th, we've got using Smart to differentiate the curriculum, foundation through to year 2. Then Wednesday the 20th, we have Unpacking the Digital Technologies curriculum with James Curran, who's also a presenter at our Inspiring Greatness conference. So he's going to be going over the same content he presented at IGC, which was awesome. So if you missed that or would like to go over that again, please make sure you log into that webinar on Wednesday the 20th of November. And then last but not least, we have using SLS in a high school math setting. So you can log on for that one as well. That will be our lucky last one. And also, if you would like to contact me or you have any questions, you can email anzinquiries@smarttech.com. That's anzinquiries@smarttech.com. Okay, I'll leave everyone to enjoy their afternoon. Thanks a lot. See you later.